Greetings to one and all. This day we like to have the most important behavioral interview technique, STAR method: situation, task, action and result. Now these are general questions. Tell me about yourself. Why should we hire you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your greatest strength or weakness? Why do you want to work for this specific company? What do you know about our company? These are all general questions commonly asked in all interviews. But when it comes to behavioral questions, you need to approach in a different way. Now, what is STAR method? So behavioral situation based questions would be entirely different. Describe a time when you led a team to achieve a challenging goal. Can you share an example of when you resolved a conflict within a team? Tell me about a time you solved complex problem under pressure. Can you provide an example of when you had to manage multiple priorities effectively? For all these questions, the way the candidate should answer is entirely different. We cannot simply give generic answers. Now, when you take this specific example, describe a time when you led a team to achieve a challenging goal. Definitely, you need to explain the situation. What was your task? What did you do? Action. And what was the outcome, result? So these questions are entirely different from the rest of the questions, general questions that are asked in interviews. This day we'll analyze how to answer this specific questions. In the contents, we'll see what is the STAR method, why is STAR method important in the job interviews, how to use STAR method, the STAR framework. In this video, I added branch specific questions. That is the most important thing added in this video. C.S.E. Computer Science Engineering specific questions and sample answers. Next, C.S.E AIML specific questions, sample answers. E.C.E specific questions and sample answer. M.B.A specific questions and sample answers. Tips for preparing STAR frame answers. Sample companies using this STAR method across the world in the interview process. Now, so what is this STAR method? Situation, task, action and result. The STAR method is an interview technique that gives you the framework to answer any behavioral or situational questions. This STAR method is a strategy specifically used in response to behavioral questions. If the question is behavioral or situational question, then your answer should be in STAR framework format. Now, so why is the STAR method important in the job interviews? This is $1 million questions. When we have a generic way of answering general questions, why should we answer behavioral questions in this specific way? Why do companies focus on this method of interviewing? This is the main reason. Connecting past behavior to future performance. So what was your past behavior when you were doing or when you were in internship, when you were doing a project or when you are managing a specific task? How can you put that specific experience in future performance after joining a specific organization? So what is the reason for STAR method being so important? How do you connect your past behavior to future performance? Connecting past behavior to future performance, that is what interviewers expect. How well this specific candidate will try to bring his past behavior and prove himself with all the qualities what all he did. So this is the main reason why STAR method is so very important across the globe. How is this STAR method important in job interviews? It's a very powerful tool that can transform your interview responses from normal generic descriptions into very impactful narratives. This method helps you stand out from other job applicants and it provides a structured way to answer behavioral interview questions. With this specific method, you can effectively provide a very comprehensive answer and precise answers that allows employers to accurately assess how well you are suited for the job. Structured responses can be given. So this STAR method offers a very methodical framework guaranteeing that your answers are well planned, structured and understandable. This keeps you from losing focus while responding. Focus on relevant information. This specific STAR method encourages one to concentrate on the most pertinent aspects of your prior experiences by segmenting your response into situation, task, action, and result. So this guarantees that you give the interviewer the details they require to evaluate your suitability for the position. So it focuses on talent, skills, and competencies by giving practical examples of how you have used your talents, abilities, and competences in real life scenarios. This STAR method enables you to effectively highlight all the aspects of your personality. This STAR framework gives the interviewer a better idea of how you might benefit the company. For that reason, they use this STAR method. Now, evidence-based responses. See, what you did in the past, how can you bring that specific attribute or quality in the present organization? So when you do that, you are bringing evidence-based responses. The STAR method pushes you to back up your statements about your skills and accomplishments with specific examples. This way of precisely giving with specific examples basing on situations, this increases the interviewer's trustworthiness and persuasiveness of your answers. Now, it would be memorable and impactful also. Your answers are more memorable and impactful if you use this STAR method to structure them. Candidates who give concise, well-structured examples of their experiences and achievements have a higher chance of sticking in the minds of the interviewers. That is the reason we use this specific STAR method. So how to use the STAR method in job interviews? Understand the question, whether it is pen and paper test, online test, offline, online, whatever it is. The students or the candidates' first prime goal is how well you have understood a question. First, try to understand the question, analyze it. Listen carefully to the interviewer's question and make sure you understand what they are asking. Behavioral interview questions often begin with phrases like, tell us about a time, give us or give me an example of a desirable time that you faced. What's an example of a time that it would start like this. So basically, all questions based on situational and behavioral, they start like this. Now, next step is identify a relevant situation. Think of a specific situation from your past experiences that is relevant to the question being asked or question asked. Choose an example that demonstrates the skills and qualities the interviewer is looking for in a candidate. Now, this is the STAR framework. We are into the actual situation, task, action, and result framework. So I have taken a lot of time to prepare all these things. So S for situation. Now we are going to how to structure our answers basing on this situation. Now, when a question is asked, the first and foremost thing is S for situation. You will go to the situation. Start your response by providing a brief overview of the situation or the context. Describe the situation or background you faced, who, what, where, when and why. Next, include where it happened, company background, name, industry, a brief overview of the product or service or the project also. What was it about if it is a project? What was the size of the project, scope, your role and responsibility, your job title and activities. Example, while working as a software developer in Wipro, summer it happened. While doing a project, this is what it happened. So first you would focus on the situation. You will try to give a comprehensive narrative of when it happened and where it happened, what was the situation about. So S for situation. Next comes T. T for task. Explain the specific task or challenge you faced within that situation. So generally, how did you face a challenge and how you reacted? That's what they wanted to know. So you want to explain. So T for task. What were you trying to accomplish? What were the goals or objectives you were working towards? What did you need to accomplish in this specific situation? Try to clearly identify your role in the scenario while explaining. T for task. So describe what was expected of you, focusing on your specific responsibility. For an example, see, As a project manager, my role was to ensure the project was completed on time and within the budget. So this was your exact task. So you have to comprehensively mention what was the task. Next comes action. Your precise action. What did you do to overcome the challenge or the problem? So A for action. Describe the actions or action you took to address the task or the challenge. Focus on what you did. Emphasize your skills, behavior, and finally decision making process. Be specific and provide enough details for the interviewer to understand your thought process and approach. So make sure to explain how you solved a problem. Importance of your involvement in the execution. Include the following. What options did you consider? What were the pros and cons of each? So what was the exact action you initiated to solve the problem or to face the challenge, and finally end it in a positive way. So A for action, which is very, very important in this STAR. If your ability to explain your precise actions, whatever you have taken, that is very, very important. So you need to practice how to narrate what you did. So A for action. Next, R for result. So what did you finally achieve in that situation? What was your outcome? How did you finally prioritize everything? How did you plan? And finally, how did you impact? How did you give your own impact? What was the result? What did you achieve? Exactly, all these come under R for the result. So results are very important everywhere, whether it is an entrepreneur or an individual. Fine. So when you focus this, you need to comprehensively, clearly mention how you achieved results. So finally, discuss the outcomes of your actions. What happened as a result of your efforts? Be sure to quantify. You can this like bulleted list orally. You can quantify your achievements if possible, and highlight any positive lessons learned from the experience. Highlight the positive impact of your achievement. This is what you are supposed to do in or for result. Specify what you did, why you did, your great decision making skills, how they impacted the entire process, your strategies chosen, etc. How you did and what you did, your tools and techniques, resources, approaches used to ensure success. So R for result in STAR, STAR framework. How did you achieve? What did you achieve? You can quantify, and how you impacted, what are the unique qualities, and what are your creative strategies finally made the entire concept reach the goal. All these things can be explained in R for results. This is also a very important phase of STAR framework. Next, now C.S.E specific questions. So all engineering students, so instead of generalizing, I just wanted to specify, taking a question which is purely related to computer science engineering, because you know computer science engineering has become, it's going to be in the past, present as well as future. So future is also purely based on computers. So I just wanted to take a problem solving and technical skills related one STAR specific questions, that is, tell me about a time when you had to solve a complex technical problem. If this question is asked, how do you prepare your framework, STAR framework situation? You are going to describe the scenario where you encountered the problem. Example, a challenging bug, a system failure, network failure, whatever it is, based on the situation. Task would be explain the task or goal you were working toward. Example, fixing the bug, optimizing performance. Next, action. Detail the steps you took to solve the issue. Example, troubleshooting, collaborating with others, writing test cases, or using specific algorithms or tools. Next, R for result. Discuss the outcome of your actions. Example, improved performance, resolve the issue, or prevented future problems, all these things. So this is the way you have to prepare the STAR framework for tell me about a time when you had to solve a complex technical problem. Now, what are the sample answers that can be framed in this STAR method? We'll see now. So, tell me about a time when you had to solve a complex technical problem. C.S.E specific, C.S.E focused question. Situation. This is sample answer. In the previous slide, I showed you framework how to prepare. In this slide, I am delivering a sample answer. We are going to analyze a sample answer. So STAR, first is situation. You are going to explain in which situation you had to take what type of decisions, how did it finally benefit. In my previous role as a software developer at Accenture, Wipro, wherever it is, we had a project where we were building an internal tool to help streamline customer support operations. One day, so this is kept in bold, you see. One day we encountered a major issue when the tool's database started experiencing significant slowdowns, especially when handling larger databases. So, which is in the red color, you can see red letters. The system would often crash or take several minutes to respond. Slowing down results that severely impacting the efficiency of the support team. This was the situation. Fine. Then what was your task? You will explain here. I was tasked with investigating the root cause of the performance issues and finding a solution to ensure the tool could handle large volumes of data without compromising performance. So this was your task. You explain the situation and you explain what was your major task, and then A for action. See how beautifully we have made the answer for explaining what you actually did. First, I conducted a thorough analysis of the database schema and the queries being executed. I used performance monitoring tools to pinpoint areas of inefficiency. It became clear that several database queries were poorly optimized and the system was also struggling with indexing and data retrieval on larger tables. To resolve this, I implemented series of actions. You can understand technically all these things. I restructure the most problematic SQL queries, optimizing joins and applying indexes to the most queried fields. I introduced pagination and data caching to reduce the load on the database during high traffic periods. I also worked with the DevOps teams to scale the database server resources temporarily while we address the underlying issues. These are all wonderful technicalities which can be used. How you acted to resolve this specific issue. Next, R for result. For the same, so how did you finally achieve your goal? How your decisions impacted? What was the actual outcome or result? After these optimizations, the system's performance really improved dramatically. So query response time reduced by 70% and the tool became stable even when handling large data sets. As a result, the customer support team was able to process requests much faster, improving overall productivity. The solution also prevented future breakdowns and contributed to the scalability of the tool as the company grew. So, note, this response demonstrates problem-solving skills, technical expertise, and the ability to deliver a solution that has a measurable impact. So this is the way you are supposed to frame, star frame questions. You need a bit planning, then you can do it wonderfully. See, specifically students, when the LPA, that means more package, higher package jobs in Accenture, in Google for system engineer, they do definitely ask you very, very impactful questions that is based on situational or star framework. So tell me a situation where you solved a problem. Tell us a situation, how did you resolve this conflict? Tell us a time where you encountered some difference of opinion with one of your colleagues while doing this specific problem. How did you overcome it? So you need to put it in the star framework only. There is no other way. This is the best result oriented impactful framework which has been or which is being used across the world. So you need to prepare like this. Obviously you will be successful. Next, C.S.E specific questions dealing with technical challenges. Now C.S.E specific question only dealing with a different technical challenge. Describe a situation where you had to learn a new programming language or technology to complete a project. This is star framework, not exact the answer. Fine. Answer is in the next slides. So how do you prepare? Situation. So describe a situation where you had to learn a new programming language or technology to complete a project. Situation. Describe the need to learn a new technology or language. Example, transitioning from Java to Python, adopting a new framework, any new language or package. What was your task? Explain the project or goal that required you to learn this specific new skill. Action. Discuss the steps you took to learn the new language or package or technology. Example, online courses, documentation, certification courses, or hands-on practice, or getting inputs. Result. Highlight the success of the project or have you applied your newfound knowledge, newly learnt knowledge to improve the outcome. This is the way you would prepare the STAR framework and frame relevant, situational, impactful answer and deliver as a wonderful answer. Now the same question we will see how you can give an answer. So describe a situation where you had to learn a new programming language or technology to complete a project. Let's see sample answer. Now explaining the situation. During my final year of computer science engineering, I was assigned a project to develop a web application for a local organization. The application required implementing real-time data synchronization, a feature for which the organization requested the use of Node.js and Socket.io technologies I had never worked with before. What was your task to do? As the lead developer, what was your role? You were the lead developer for the entire project. I was responsible for learning Node.js and Socket.io, integrating real-time updates and ensuring the application met the organization's specific requirements within the given timeline of just 3 months. So you had to learn these two technologies which you are not aware and take up the task and complete the entire project within the given timeline of just 3 months. Action. So what was the exact action you did? Answer. Research, and when it comes to, you can add like this. When it comes to research and planning, I began by researching the basics of Node.js and Socket.io through official documentation, online courses and tutorials. Hands-on learning. When it comes to this, to quickly get hands-on experience, developed a small prototype, a sample chart application using these technologies to understand their core concepts. Team collaboration. I shared my learning with my team and divided tasks, ensuring everyone was aligned on using the new technology stack. So how did you implement? Implementation and testing. Once confident, then what happened? I implemented the real-time features in the main application, constantly testing for performance and debugging issues as they try to arise on the time. Once confident, I implemented the real-time features in the main application, parallelly constantly testing for performance and debugging issues as they arose. See the different you segmented everything, your action, research and planning, hands-on learning, team collaboration, implementation and testing. So this is the way you are supposed to prepare. And what was the result? We'll see. The results, the project was successfully completed on time with real-time synchronization working seamlessly. The client was highly impressed with the application's performance and usability. Additionally, see the one, learning Node.js and Socket.io open new avenues for me, and I have since used them in other projects with much more confidence. So describe a situation where you had to learn a new programming language or technology to complete a project. This is the way you prepare for STAR framework and sample answers for your sake, with a lots of consulting, many knowledgeable people across India. I prepare it like this. So two situational based questions we have analyzed, including STAR framework and sample answers for computer science engineering. Next, C.S.E specific questions. Once again, handling a difficult bug. Tell me about a time you encountered difficult bug in a software project and how you fixed it. Situation, straight away answer, sample answer. When I was working in so company or during my final year project at a university or college, I worked on a team project to develop a task management web application. Midway, what happened? Through development, we encountered a critical bug where the application occasionally failed to save tasks correctly. This issue was intermittent, means again and again troubling, making it difficult to reproduce and identify the root cause. This was the situation. Your task as the lead backend developer, you were the lead backend developer. That was your profile for the project. So it was my responsibility to investigate the issue, identify its cause, and also implement and fix to ensure the application worked reliably before our submission deadline. So this was your exact task. Next comes action. See how the answer was framed. To tackle the problem, I followed a systematic debugging process, reproducing the bug. I collaborated with my team to analyze user scenarios and pinpoint patterns. When the issue occurred, we logged requests and responses to understand the conditions under which the bug appeared. Root cause analysis. After careful inspection, I discovered that the bug stemmed from a rare condition in our API's handling of database writes when multiple users were trying to save tasks simultaneously. This was the actual cause. So how did you implement solution implementation? I reconstruct the code to implement a transaction based approach using optimistic concurrency control, ensuring database writes were atomic and consistent. I also added test cases to simulate concurrent writes to validate the fix. So how did you validate it? Finally, under validation section, finally we conducted rigorous testing across various edge cases and environments to ensure the bug was finally resolved. So this is the action, step by step, very question specific, highly organized, systematic process to explain what you did. Action and followed by result. What was the result? The fix was successful finally, and the application reliably saved tasks even under high concurrency. Not only did we deliver the project on time, but the solution also earned praise and appreciation from higher authorities like your professor for demonstrating advanced problem solving skills. So finally, this experience, what did you learn? Taught me the importance of systematic debugging and designing robust systems for real world conditions. So this is the way you would prepare an answer. We'll see C.S.E, AI and ML specific question. Again and again, we cannot include it differently, so I included in one single video. So can you describe a time when you optimized an algorithm or improved the performance of a system? Straight away sample answer, you are going to explain the situation. This is a sample answer. In my previous role as a software engineer at Capgemini, we were developing a recommendation engine for an e-commerce platform. The system was using a collaborative filtering algorithm to suggest products to users. However, as the user base grew, the algorithm's performance started to degrade, resulting in slower response times and decreased user satisfaction. So this was the situation. Now your task. My task was to identify the performance related issues in the recommendation algorithm and optimize it so that it could handle the increased load and provide faster, more accurate recommendations. So this was your task. So what was your action? I began by analyzing the current implementation of the algorithm. I noticed that the collaborative filtering approach was using a brute force method to calculate similarity between users, which involved iterating over large matrices of user data to compute recommendations in real time. This was highly computationally expensive. To address this specific issue, I implemented the following improvements. First one is data processing. I used matrix factorization techniques to reduce the dimensionality of the user item interaction matrix. This significantly reduced the size of the data being processed, making the algorithm faster. Action. So caching. I introduced an intelligent caching layer to store frequently accessed similarity computations and recommendations for popular users, reducing the need for redundant calculation. Now, parallel processing. I restructured parts of the algorithm to take advantage of multi-threading and parallel processing, allowing different parts of the computation to be handled concurrently. Next, approximate nearest neighbors. Even this is also available as sub-part of something. You can recheck it again and again. ANN is also available. You can check it in Google and then come to conclusion. So ANN, approximate nearest neighbors. For similarity computations, instead of computing the exact similarity between all users, I used an ANN algorithm like local sensitive hashing to approximate the nearest neighbors more effectively. So these are the methods, exact methods used in action, which you can focus. What was the result, final result? As a result of these optimizations, the algorithm's performance improved significantly, and metrics here. See, we saw a 50% reduction in computation time for generating recommendations even with a growing user base. Next, the system was able to handle 3x more traffic without a noticeable decrease in performance. Additionally, user engagement increased by 20% due to faster and more accurate recommendations. The changes were also well received by the product team, who were able to scale the platform more effectively. So what was the result? In the last paragraph or last sentences, you will give exact, analytics percentages. This much percentage was reduced. So we were able to increase or improve something to this extent. Quantify your achievements. So all quantification of your achievements can appear here. Next, E.C.E specific questions. I have added this also. Straight away answer. The situational or star frame question is, can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex electronics related problem? Situation. Answer. Straight away answer, sample answer. In my previous internship at a telecommunications company, I was part of a team responsible for maintaining and troubleshooting communication systems in a large network. During a routine check, we encountered an issue where several of the network routers were intermittently dropping packets, causing significant delays in communication and affecting the quality of service for clients. So what was your task? My task was to identify the root cause of the issue, troubleshoot the hardware and software components involved, and provide a solution to minimize packet loss and restore the system's stability. Next, action. So step by step, initial diagnosis. I first conducted a thorough inspection of the routers and their configurations. Then I examined network logs and packet traces to identify any recurring patterns or specific times when packet loss occurred. Isolating the issue. How did you isolate this? After analyzing the logs, I discovered that the packet loss seemed to occur more often during high traffic periods. I suspected that the routers were overloading, so I focused on checking the router's CPU and memory usage as well as the traffic flow across the network. So hardware and software checks. I ran diagnostic tests on the routers, including hardware status checks and firmware version verifications. So it became clear that a software bug in the firmware was causing excessive CPU usage when the router was handling large traffic loads. So these were your actions. Next, what did you do? Collaborative solution. I communicated with the firmware development team who had recently released an update. Then they confirmed that the firmware had a known memory leak issue. I worked with team to test a patch, and after successful testing, we deployed the update across the affected routers. So finally, whenever you do something, you would verify whether it is really working or not. Am I right? So verification and monitoring. After the patch was deployed, I monitored the network performance for several days to ensure that the packet loss had been resolved. I also set up additional monitoring tools to proactively detect any future anomalies. Any sub bugs or issues were happening, you still verified and monitored to see to that nothing would be recurring. So what was the final result? The firmware patch successfully resolved the packet loss issue. Network stability. So what was improved that you are adding? Network stability improved significantly with no further interruptions in communication. So as a result, the overall network efficiency and customer satisfaction were restored to previous state. So this troubleshooting experience helped me improve my skills in both technical problem solving and collaboration with cross-functional teams. So what did you learn finally? So the way you implemented well, everything went on well. You have successfully resolved the problem. But how did you finally personally get benefited also? You can say. Next, I included for M.B.A students also, because star based questions would be asked more majority of the times for M.B.A students also, maybe not a fresher, even for freshers also. There is no guarantee why interviewers wouldn't ask. Anytime what is there in the interviewer's mind, no one can predict. So for M.B.A specific questions, for M.B.A department, M.B.A students across the world, it would be useful. So M.B.A specific questions, straight away sample answer based on, this question is based on leadership and teamwork. So the question is, describe a time when you led a team through a challenging project. Situation: in my previous role as a project manager or internship or while doing a project, whatever it is. Here I have taken the example of, for a digital marketing firm, Mudra Agencies or group, very famous in Ahmedabad. So we were tasked with launching a major marketing campaign for a high profile client with a tight 3-month deadline schedule. The client requested multiple deliverables: new website, social media strategy, which is very, very important, and content calendar also. Shortly after starting, 2 key team members left the project, had to leave suddenly for medical issues, whatever it is, which created a very huge loss or gap in our team skills and added significant pressure. You call it stress, whatever it is. So what is stress? An adaptive response mediated by individual differences or psychological processes. That's a consequence of any external, environmental or situational thing that is acting on you, which produces physical demands. So that is pressure, stress, whatever you call it. Immediately stress started piling up. So my primary responsibility was to lead the team through this project, ensuring we met the client's expectations and the strict timeline. I needed to quickly redistribute responsibilities, keep everyone motivated, and ensure that the quality of work did not drop, even with the reduced resources. When there is a reduction of resources, what happens generally? Morale falls down. Employees' morale, once it starts falling down, productivity falls down. Am I right? So you have to use your emotional intelligence to improve everyone's performance, to keep on trying. I mean to say, inspiring, motivating is a continuous process. So keep everyone motivated. This is very important. So your task, what you did to keep everyone motivated, you can explain in tasks. Next, action. To tackle the challenge, I implemented a few key strategies. Redistributed responsibilities. Under that, I analyzed the skills of our remaining team members and reassigned tasks based on their performance, strengths, allowing us to cover the missing roles effectively. Increased communication. I held daily check-ins and created a centralized project board for transparent tracking. So real-time tracking dashboard. Where is it lagging? So where it has really improved, you have prepared in such a way that on real time, just after the lunch also you can see and tell, yeah, this specific employee is doing well, this specific department is doing well, or here it is lagging, let me hold a meeting, like that. So trackings, transparent tracking. So everyone was aligned and informed. Motivated the team. I set up small milestone rewards like team lunches to keep morale high and acknowledge the team's hard work under difficult circumstances. Outsourced specialized tasks where we lacked expertise. So there is something beyond our control. Certain things cannot be done within the team. In such cases, what happened? So outsourcing from third party, I arranged short-term external third-party support for highly specialized tasks like SEO. So the result was, systematically we launched the campaign at time, on time, and met all client deliverables. The campaign was highly successful, generating, here you are using exact analytics, 30% increase, quantifying your achievements, 30% increase in engagement for the client in the first month. The client was so impressed with our ability to adapt and deliver high quality results despite facing obstacles. So finally, what did you personally learn? This experience taught me valuable lessons about crisis management, team motivation, and the importance of adaptability. Adaptability is different from flexibility. Adaptability is basing on situations. So this is the way you would deliver the answer. These are the sample answers included for M.B.A specific questions. Now, tips for preparing STAR framework. Know your stories well. Planning. Plans never fail. We fail to plan the plans properly, but never memorize. What happens if you memorize? You stop at a point of time. You will try to get back your what you wanted to store, and finally you will successfully fail. Never memorize. Never learn anything by heart. Know your stories. Prepare properly. Preparation does not mean learning something by heart or memorizing them. So on the spot, if there is a change in the question, we are stuck. Use your common sense. So, but never memorize them. Focus on remembering the key details, key framework, and how they fit into situation, task, action, and result framework. So choose relevant, highly relevant examples. Pick examples that are closely related to the job role, job description you are interviewing for. Focus on showcasing the key skills required for the position. Aim for recent examples which are ideally suited for from the last 1-2 years, very short. So the experience is fresh and relevant to the current job market. 10 years back, 20 years back, in my childhood I did this, so I will be behaving in the same way now. Instead of that, always try to use recent fresh examples. 1 to 2 to 3 years, it's okay. So use natural language. That is why we say communication skills are important. Spontaneity, quotient is important. Your emotional intelligence, your ability to respond quickly and gather ideas, all these things are very important. So use natural language. I employed a multifaceted approach to resolve the issue. When you observe this, it is complex. The sentence is complex. The language is complex, you see. I employed a multifaceted approach to resolve the issue. Sounds great, but unnecessary redundancy is there. Unnecessary expressions are there. Roundabout expressions are there. Instead, you can select simple expression. I tried a few things, a few different things to solve the problem. Simple, you see. The same thing can be said in a roundabout way. Same thing can be said in a very concise and precise way also. I tried a few different things to solve the problem. Communicates well. Instead of I employed a multifaceted approach to resolve the issue. Why to go to complex language? Communication means using simple language. Majority audience can understand whatever you speak. You are a successful communicator, an efficient communicator. Never forget this. Add personal reflection. Talk about what you learned or how you grew from the experience. This adds a personal touch to your answer and makes it sound more authentic. Stay focused on the question. Never get distracted. Answer only what's relevant to the specific question. Be concise. Provide enough details to show your actions, but avoid over-explaining. Optimum details should be given. At the same time, unnecessary redundant explanation not necessary. Rehearse. Practice, practice, practice. Practice your responses so that you can keep them clear and well remembered and organized. Now you may ask me a question. Is this STAR interviewing technique is being practiced or not? It's very, not only it has been going on for the last many years, to tell you frankly. Specifically Fortune 500 companies, not only that, each and every, even if for a small job also, interviewers are asking such situational behavioral based questions which fall under STAR framework, demanding STAR framework answers. Sample companies using STAR method in the interview process. Google emphasizes behavioral questions and uses the STAR method to evaluate how candidates approach problem solving and handling challenging situations. Amazon is always amazing. So Amazon is famous for its leadership principles, and candidates are often asked behavioral questions that are best answered using the STAR method. Microsoft, the best company, Microsoft uses the STAR method to evaluate technical, leadership and interpersonal skills with an emphasis on past behavior to predict future success. Next, Apple uses the STAR method to assess candidates' experiences and how they align with the company's culture and job descriptions or requirements. Facebook, FB uses behavioral interview questions that are typically structured in a STAR format to assess problem solving, collaboration and leadership skills of the candidates. IBM, such a such an amazing company, IBM often utilizes the STAR method in interviews to understand how candidates have handled specific challenges in the past. Deloitte uses the STAR method in its behavioral interviews to evaluate both technical expertise and soft skills like communication, leadership, and teamwork. Accenture, like other consulting firms, utilizes the STAR method to assess how candidates perform in real-world situations and how their actions align with company values. Salesforce uses the STAR method for behavioral interviews to explore how candidates tackle challenges and exhibit key attributes such as customer focus, teamwork, and innovation. So Intel incorporates the STAR method to understand how candidates have solved problems, worked with teams, that is collaboration, teamwork, and demonstrated leadership in technical environment. Cognizant uses the STAR method for both technical and non-technical roles to understand how candidates have faced challenges and contributed to overall team success. GE, General Electric, applies the STAR method to understand how candidates have faced challenges and achieved outcomes in complex environments. Now, sample questions just for your idea. Sample STAR method frame questions, situational questions. Can you provide an example of when you went above and beyond to satisfy a customer or client? Describe a time when you faced an ethical dilemma in your professional or academic life. Share a situation where you used creative thinking to overcome a challenge. Describe a time when you had to troubleshoot an issue quickly and effectively. Describe a situation where you helped mediate a conflict between others. How you mediated a conflict also shows your leadership skills, communication strategies. So describe a time when you had to adjust to a significant change. M.B.A students, learn, unlearn. Change management is a great thing. Share a time when you had to quickly learn a new skill or adapt to new technology. This is very important for engineering students for technical expertise. Tell me about a situation where you volunteered to take on extra responsibilities. How did you manage them? Describe a time when you proactively solved a problem before it became critical. Give me an example of a time when you came up with a creative solution to a problem at work or college, anywhere, personal life or professional life. So this is a comprehensive video on STAR, situation, task, action, and result. All the best, my dear students. Thank you all.